Let glory shine. From the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom, this is my climb. Let glory shine, it's the power inside.
Hello and welcome back to Let Glory Shine. I am your host, Martha Glory, and I'm so excited to be here for yet another episode of Let Glory Shine. As always, I have another spectacular, magnificent, awesome guest, and I am so lucky to call him friend, but he's so much more than just my friend. He's just a spectacular human, and I can't wait for you to hear a little bit about his story. I'm going to introduce you to Javier Santana. And before I do, I want to tell a small, quick story of how Javier may or may not have saved my life.
Oh,
So, welcome, Javier, and then I'll
hello.
tell the story.
Okay, hello.
How are you? I'm so glad you're here.
Glad to be here, and I cannot wait to hear the story.
I'm sure you'll remember it very quickly.
Okay.
So in December of last year, I made a trip to Puerto Rico, which
Mm,
is Javier's homeland. That's where he's from. And before I went to Puerto Rico, I said, "Hey, Javi, this is like the day before I land in Puerto Rico. I'm like, "Hey, Javi, I am going to Puerto Rico. What kind of places should I visit and where should I eat and things like this?" And he's like, "Okay, so where are you staying?" And I give him all the deets, and so he gives me like a list of places that I should see, places I should eat, and then this one place that I should not go because it's unsafe for said people, tourist, things, right? Shouldn't go, right? Just one place. So I'm so excited. I'm going to Puerto Rico with my best friend and her then fiance. We land in the country. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm like texting with Javi back and forth about how beautiful his country is, and so then we spend the first couple of days there. We're visiting the places he told us to visit. We're eating at the places he told us to eat. And it's just everything is great. Until one night, we are like looking for something to do. And one of the restaurants he told us to go to had like a 2 hour wait. And we were like, we're starved. And my girlfriend wasn't feeling good, and so we needed to get food into her because she was becoming that hangry angry, and so
Mm.
we were like, we need food. So we just Googled or Yelped this restaurant, and we were like, oh, this sounds so good. And so then in Martha style, I hit go on the directions, and we just start walking and walking. And so we suddenly get to this part of the road where it says there's a staircase, but we cannot find this staircase. It's dark. And we can't find this staircase, and we keep going back and forth, and the dot keeps moving and tells us to look for the staircase, can't find it. And suddenly this guy walks up to us out of the middle of nowhere, literally appears, and he says, where are you guys looking or heading? Where are you guys going? And we're like, oh, we're going to this restaurant. And he looks at the phone and is like, oh, no, 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 you don't need to go there. And we were like, what? That's the restaurant. It has good Yelp reviews. He's like, no, you guys don't need to go there. That's La Perla. And as soon as he said La Perla, like all the bells and whistles of the one place that Javi said not to go to, like started, and I was like, holy crap, that's the one place we weren't
Hmm.
supposed to go. And so then me and Stacy are like, oh crap, I'm so glad we didn't end up going there. And we looked up to like thank the guy, and he vanished. He was gone. It was like an angel that literally appeared to
Hmm.
save us from catastrophe, and then he just went on his way. So that is the short story about how Javi saved my life.
Wow. And I'm gonna um, give you a gentle rebuke because if you would have just listened to me, think the Lord, like He knew you enough. That He's like, she's just gonna forget. I'm gonna send somebody else to kind of remind her.
Well, it to be fair, I didn't know that was in La Perla. I didn't know that restaurant
That's
was
fair. That's
I
fair. That's fair.
did
You're right.
not know. Like La Perla is so like seriously, you don't know where it is until you get there. And then you're like, "Oh, you
Right, right,
mean
right.
that sketchy staircase that's in the dark with no lights that I okay, got it, right?
That's
Doesn't
amazing.
lead to anything good on the other side." And so I have put that story in my second book that I'm writing right now, and it's you can't make this stuff up, the
Right.
miracles of God, and that is
That
one
was an
of the
angel. That was
that
that was
he
a
was for sure an
yeah.
angel,
We
for
talked
sure.
about that like right when because I talked to you a little bit after, like, no, 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 no. And so, did you go? No, you didn't. And then I'm like, so it definitely confirmed. I know there's angels everywhere and we see them and we don't know what they are and they're down here. So I think that definitely that was you being looked out for.
Well, he was masked in a backwards hat and a jogging suit, and then he just disappeared. So I am so grateful for my angel that night. But let's get into you,
Yes.
Javi. I have gotten the privilege of knowing you through Unleash You. I met you maybe almost 2 years ago now, I guess.
Mhm.
And it's just been so fun to get to run into you at different events and get to connect with you over Zoom coffees from time to time. But I want you to kind of tell a little bit about your trauma healing story. And more so, I want to talk about men in trauma, right?
Mm,
It's one of those things that men are becoming more avid to be able to and confident in talking about, yeah, I've been through some trauma and not just been like, I've been through some crap, I've been through some life, right? And really recognizing that, yes, men too go through trauma and have to
right.
go on a healing journey. And so I'd like to explore that if you would be so kind.
No, for sure. Good. That's a lot there, but it's good. It's good. Personally for me, you know my story, but some folks might not know this, but you hear this, God had to hit me across the head with a 2x4 for me to dot dot dot. And I had that 2x4 moment several years ago when my marriage of 28 years ended. This is good news is in the sense of that her and I are in a good place, and but that marriage ended, and I was with her most of my adult life. So for me, it was a death. Since from the time I was 19 till 52, 54 now, but every decision in my life, I always consider her. So, uh, it was a death. I mean, even though I'm glad she's alive, all of a sudden that presence is not there, and what now? So, I call that my midlife awakening. And I didn't have a midlife crisis; I had a midlife awakening, and that's what kind of jolted me out of my, it like brought me clarity. Like in the Bible talks about the veil being lifted, and I just was seeing clearly, and I made a decision to, knowing that I wasn't going to grow old with this person. There's still a lot of life left. What do I do with it? And I started shifting my focus and realized that my entire life I had lived numb, as a man, as a Latino, just like, hardworking, hitting the pavement, just doing my dutiful thing, but in the process ignoring me and my heart and my soul and my spirit. And I just sucked it up. I'm a Gen X, so I'm like, suck it up, buttercup, just wipe off the rub some dirt on it. I know these are a lot of metaphors, but generally speaking, I'm looking back, this is what I did. But I realized, hey, it's okay, being around people like you and the community I'm part of, and just it's okay to take care of you. It's not selfish. And I started doing that work. And you talked about healing, and healing is a choice. I chose to heal because this event was a trauma in itself, but the clarity of the awakening uncovered a lot of things in my life with my father and different things that I had kind of shelved that I now had to address in the healing process. So there was a lot of time of solitude, a lot of time to myself. Instead of medicating, instead of going to things to kind of numb, I decided to start feeling my feelings and working through those through the help of a few people around me, and just, and so that was a process. And it's like a purging of stuff. And so here I am 2 years later, still a work in progress. But even though I didn't choose that path, I'm thankful in many ways and grateful for this because I found myself, I found my voice, I found my heart again, and I had lost heart, didn't realize it.
Yeah. God or life or source
Yeah,
often has a way of grabbing our attention. And we often can ignore the nudges until it becomes so uncomfortable that we can no longer ignore it and we have to make a choice, right?
right.
And the divorce and all, the breakdown of the relationship and everything that you experienced, that was there. I'm certain there was nudges before that because
Yeah.
I too have been through divorce, and I know the feeling and devastation and the grief that follows, whether
Yes.
that's your decision or it's your spouse's decision. There's still a grieving period that happens.
Yeah.
But looking back in my experience, there was lots of nudges long before I ever committed to asking for a divorce,
Right.
right? That was telling me I was no longer in alignment with this relationship and with this marriage and with this season, right? And so I'm just curious as to, do you feel like in retrospect there were nudges before you actually got the 2x4,
Yeah.
or was that a whole new experience for you?
No, no, there were nudges for a long time, but I think part of it was me being, I got to make this work. If it doesn't work, I'm fail. That's what those are I'm looking back, those are the internal dialogue that was happening. This Javier doesn't agree with that, which is why but that's, so I just made it work. Let's make it work and put the cape on, put the S on my chest, and just kind of go out there and make it work. And in the process, I kept losing myself. And I look back at some things too, and I take a lot of ownership over this, where I revisit moments in my mind and in my heart that, oh, I can see why she didn't like that about me. God, I don't like that either. And how can I be intimate with somebody, on every level, just being, when I don't let her into my narrative. And I used to kind of not share, not because I didn't want to hide, it's just because I wanted to protect. I'll
Yep.
take it. I don't want to burden her. But
Yep.
what I was doing was creating separation, because I didn't understand at the time that sharing it was, and I was including her in my
Yep.
story.
Yep.
And it's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, I see that very clearly, and I actually validated and I acknowledged it to her a while back after the divorce and stuff, that I understand and I'm sorry, but that's part of the growth process. But it doesn't
Yes.
have to take. But part of my mission now is, like, it doesn't have to take the 2x4 for you to wake
Yes.
up.
Yes. So let's talk about men in trauma.
Okay.
And because you didn't quite answer that question, so I want to kind of circle back. I
I'm
want
not
to
avoiding
circle.
it. I will. Thank you for bringing it.
No problem, because everything's great. I want to make sure that we circle back to that because it's really important to understand that there is an awakening for
Yeah.
men right now, and understanding that although we have been through this kind of season of toughen up, buttercup, because we are our generation was that way, toughen up, and you're not a man if you show emotion, and
Right.
rub some dirt on it, get over it, all of those things. And I think that there's stigma that is being released, and it is being taught, and it is more accepted
Right.
for men to not only show their emotions, but understand that emotion is information, and that we then get to choose how we can react to that situation, how we can heal from it, grow from it, elevate from it, whatever it is. So,
Right.
talk to me about how that has been applicable for your situation.
No, thank you. Yeah, it's been incredible because, um, first of all, the first statement is, and I'm not, I'm answering the question. It's just I land the plane eventually. I do. Um, so feeling, you mentioned showing your feelings. I want to add to that, feeling your feelings, because some men and people in general show their feelings incorrectly. And so understanding that I have to process those feelings and allow them to kind of run through is something that I learned. And that's something I encourage men now to do. And you're right, it is being more accepted. Thank you to Gen Z for being so in touch with their feelings, I had three Gen Z daughters, so I understand. So no knock. I mean, I totally love that. Now it's a matter of like taking, feelings can be notoriously misleading too. So I have to learn. I'm learning to not just follow my heart, but lead my heart, and understanding that okay, I feel this way, and kind of work through that. So as a man, it is not a weakness. It is actually a strength to acknowledge that you have weaknesses, and being the buzzword these days, vulnerable. It's just being honest and just being open with that honesty instead of shoving it down and shelving it. It'll come up in some place that you don't expect. And as a man, there's an analogy I heard somewhere. I don't know where it was or read it, where being a male, being like masculinity is not bad, toxic. There's the toxic anything, right? But the balance as a man is, I know I'm strong, and know I can be soft. It's just knowing when to do that. I can be powerful, and I am
Mm.
powerful, but there's a time for using your power, or in a time for So it's kind of like steel and velvet is the analogy. You can, being hard as steel or soft as velvet, depending. And the ultimate model is Jesus Christ. I mean, he was the strongest it gets, but he was very, very, compassionate and loving and all that. And you can be both and still be very much a man. So I had to fight over several things: the male stereotype, and also the Latino male
Mm.
stereotype, breaking that. So when I say those analogies or those metaphors, I don't agree with those, but I see men are realizing, something's got to give. So I want to there. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because for me, the last point and hopefully I answer your question. Um, the awakening it's the beginning of the work. Awareness, and I realized with my journey, awareness of my wound and my trauma does not equal healing from it. But a lot of guys,
Mm.
oh, look at that, that's what happened, but they don't do anything about it. I'm now aware of it, but there's work to be done for the healing of that, and entering into that is where a lot of men kind of stop. So part of my mission is to inspire others and men to live fully, but also understand that in order to be of any type of contribute anywhere outwardly, not only especially to my first ministry, which is my family, my daughters, but after that, I have to be whole. And there's being
Yeah.
whole and being holy, and holy or whole, but you have to be whole,
Yes.
WHOLE.
Yeah.
And I can't give what I don't have. So doing that internal work, not only body and mind, but spirit and soul, is so important as a man, as any person, but as a man, that it's like the most unselfish thing we could ever do, because now we, out of the overflow, we can bless others and impact others.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing, just trying to bring awareness with my story to say, look, I get it, but who you've been listening to in those metaphors and those stereotypes, they're wrong. We have to break the cycle as men, to understand that, to keep our families together, to keep not repeating the cycle, we have to heal as men.
Yeah. We talk a lot about cycle breakers or generational cycle breakers, right, in trauma healing. And because healing is a choice, therefore cycle breaking is a choice. Generational cycle breaking is a choice. And when I first understood the responsibility that comes from choosing healing, right,
Mm.
I was like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. What? Like now, what? But the ripple effect, whether we choose it or not, our choice for healing will have a ripple effect,
Right,
which is absolutely phenomenally beautiful because, again, the cycle breakers, the generational cycle. Now, when you start seeing that, you're like, oh, okay, I'll sign up for this, right? Because you start
right,
seeing this isn't only a choice for me. This is not just a choice for healing because I'm selfish and I just want to feel better. No, this is about your daughters. This is
right,
about my family. This is about your daughter's children. This
right,
is about your daughter's children, right? Like this is the bloodline changes because of our choices,
right.
which
So, right,
is hugely important, and it's powerful to think of,
right,
right? Because we are making these choices now. So as a man, I feel like when men understand that, when I talk about this in coaching and when I talk about this at, from stage, when men understand that they literally are being the man of their house and the man of their family when they choose to heal, because their ripple effect is going to be a lot stronger than what they would continue to create in the cyclical patterns if they were such. Does that make sense?
No, totally, totally. And I'll even add another layer to that. It's we know what the ripples are positively when we heal, but there's still ripples if we choose not to heal.
100%.
And so we can, like I always talk about, you could being a marketing messaging guy, I've got to name it and give it a logo. So I used to say, live now, leave a trail. And the leave a trail is the legacy company. We are leaving a trail, a ripple effect, whether we like it or not. So we can choose to leave a trail of joy and happiness and impact, or want a trail of destruction behind us if we just don't address that. And the beginning of that is the awakening. It's the veil being lifted, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, wait a second. It's almost like the Matrix. You have your, now you've seen what it is. Take the red pill or the green pill.
Green,
But when you've
yeah,
seen
blue,
enough,
yeah,
it's our responsibility to know, like, if I don't do something about this is going to get worse, and it's not, I'm not going to just take myself down. I'm going to take everybody down with me, or they're just going to leave me. And look, a big lesson for me was my father, who I for most of my life, I was at odds with, not fighting. He just disappeared. He was not present, and he passed away. We had reconciled late, but I had planned to go see him in Puerto Rico, spend some time with him. But he ended up passing away 5 years ago. And the reason I mention that is because he died by himself on Father's Day. And what did he leave behind? I mean, he has my sister and I, and he has another daughter, and I'm, I choose not to live a life that's part of my, I want to be present for my daughters, be there. Like, it's not what I do; it's just being there.
yeah.
I understand the
Being
different,
present.
being present, and I live with purpose, but I also live on purpose. But the biggest part of that is just being there, showing up, being, so that responsibility is ours after the awakening, and we can choose. People choose to numb up more and just kind of like, I can't handle this, but I'm one to show people, especially men, look, there's an incredible ROI to this, not just for your heart and your soul, but everybody around you. And I know you don't wake up every morning wanting to bring people down, but I know it's hard. I know it hurts, and it's going to hurt, but you're not alone.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through this alone. So hopefully that makes sense. But I think the idea is, for me, the word inspiration is a big one. I can't practically talk to people and counsel them and do coaching and do that stuff to help that. I think from what I want to do, not to be on the outskirts, but Michael, our good friend Michael Favor, says all the time, the best thing you could do, one of the most wonderful thing you could do for people, is to inspire them, and for me, inspiring others and awaken them with my story and my message is the beginning part of that. If something materializes organically from there for the person, I'm not going to turn somebody down if somebody wants to talk to me and I want to, share, even further. But I know that if I can turn my life around the way I have from the inside out, anybody can.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful. I live in gratitude. Even, I could look back and my what's happened, and it's, because God's no respecter of persons. So my thing is different than somebody else's, and somebody's could be sickness, somebody could be disease, somebody could be a death. For me, this is what it was, but I made a choice to honor myself and my heart and my soul and Him and God, in order to be of service to my family and to the kingdom moving forward from here. You
Yeah.
know,
It's
so
beautiful.
so it's a responsibility now. I see it as a duty, but I'm wake up every morning with such gratitude, because when you've been through the fire, and look, I know you've been through the fire. There's things that hit you. You're like, that's easy. I've been through.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I know that's annoying. For me, things are more annoying than actually painful these days. It's like,
Right. Right. And that's so interesting, right? I've said this many times, but when you are on a healing journey, or when you have committed your life to professional growth or personal growth or elevation or whatever it is, that doesn't mean that life don't be lifing still, right? You're
Right.
still going to, I still dealt with divorce, I still had a miscarriage, I still had job changes, I
Mhm.
still, right? Like all life still be lifing, and you still, things are still going to happen. But now when they happen, I have the tools to get back on track faster. And that's the
Right.
difference,
Right.
is
Right.
that I don't go on a tailspin and have to curl up in a hole for 2 weeks and binge, Netflix. Instead, I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to go for a walk. And I feel
Right.
like I need to go sit in the grass and just ground. I feel like I need to pray. I feel like I need to get on my hands and knees right now, because I don't see a way out of this, but every single time God has showed up. And so I don't know why today would be any different, right?
Mhm.
So I
Right.
have the tools now to be able to say, this isn't the end. I have made it through every worst day I've ever had, and I'm going to make it through this as well. But it's still, life still is going to happen. We just now are equipped to get back on track faster, and more, with less beating up yourself,
Right.
showing more
Right.
grace for yourself, more forgiveness for yourself, and you learn the lessons maybe a little quicker. So,
Right, right.
so
In other words, like our time in fetal position is less. Instead of like 2 weeks, it's like half a day
right, right.
recovery time.
Right. And I think there's still an importance in the fetal position, right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
sometimes you just have to feel the defeat. You have to feel the pain. You have to feel, again, this goes back to the feeling, right? I don't want to numb from the feelings. I don't want to numb from
Right,
reality, right? I want to feel, because the only way to feel, or the only way to heal, is to feel.
right,
And you cannot heal what you don't bring to the light. So if
right.
you keep it in the darkness, you're never, and don't feel it, just numb it, just push it down, just suppress it. You're never going to be able to heal it. It will revisit in a different shape or form, but
You
it will
will.
revisit. I promise.
Right,
And it's
right.
not going to look, it's going to look different, but it's going to have the same painful effect. So feel it, get in your ball, and then say, but just don't unpack your bags there. Don't get lost in
Yeah,
that
don't camp.
feeling.
Don't set up camp.
Don't set up camp. Right,
uh,
exactly. So
it's
in the
interesting.
last,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I mean, I was going to add like I noticed my pace a lot more. I realized that direction is more important than speed a lot of times. So I always say live now, and it's simple, but everybody knows this, but they're going too fast to kind of practice it. So the in order for me to be able to navigate all those things you just mentioned, you have to kind of unplug and downshift and stop sometimes, and sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's the big lesson for me there, is that noticing my pace, not only like physically, but where's my head? Am I here present, but is my mind 10,000 miles away? Where's my heart? Why am I up? Why did that trigger me? That's interesting. Um, and questioning those things internally. So that is part of the things we develop in taking care of ourselves
Yeah.
in those practices, those daily practices. And then
Yeah.
after that is taking action, right? So and then last thing I'll say is I talk about soul care, because that's deeper than all that.
Self-care. Yep.
So it's not just managing my life; it's actually nourishing that, so then I can feed that. And from the byproduct of it is all the things I want to do. It's easier for me to do the things I want to do and impact others and do that when from a soul level,
Yep.
I'm kind of I got it. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm good. That's where joy comes from. That's where real joy is, not
Yes.
happiness from there.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I hadn't heard it in that way, but it's so true, because I talk about the connection, right, of the body, mind, and spirit, and self-care
Hmm.
only generally takes care of body. It's not taking care of mind and spirit, right? Mind and spirit, that's prayer, that's meditation, that's going inward, right? That's
Right.
sitting with those feelings, with those emotions, with your connection, with your alignment. And so I love that soul care. I'm probably going to use that again. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for that. Love
absolutely.
that. So unfortunately, we're out of time, Javi. This has gone so fast. This has been so fun. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and a little bit of your story. I end every episode the same way. I just want to ask you, what does it mean for Javi to let his glory shine?
Wow. So, not hiding and smiling more. You know, my tendency by default has always been, not anymore, to kind of default by kind of go retreating. And so the way I shine is to just continue to be myself and not polished, just, you know, what you see is what you get, WYSIWYG. And then I work through that. The people that matter are going to respond the right way and love me anyway and help me and give me some tough love. So that's how so instead of just disappearing, I just show up and keep showing up.
Oh, I love that so much. Javi, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for everyone that's tuned in for yet another episode of Let Glory Shine. I will be back same time, same station next week. See you then. Let Glory Shine. Good night.
Let glory shine from the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom, this is my climb. Let glory shine, it's the power inside. This is your prosperity era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.